Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving into HTTP enumeration, but probably not in the way you're used to. It's time to put down the digital sledgehammer and, pick up the magnifying glass. We're going to stop kicking down doors and start thinking like a detective who's picking a lock. Let's get right into it.
So, think about it. When you're looking at a web server, what's your first move? Is it just to unleash this giant, noisy word list and hope something, anything, sticks? That's brute force. Or do you see it more like a puzzle box, where every single response you get back is a clue, a tiny piece of a bigger secret just waiting for you to uncover it with some good old-fashioned brain power?
And this slide, well, it just lays it all out, doesn't it? Over on the left, you've got noisy guessing. That's like trying every key on a giant keyring for every door in a skyscraper. It's loud, it's inefficient, and you're just creating a ton of noise. But on the right, that's where we want to be. Disciplined observation. This is quiet, it's targeted, it's surgical. Every response from the server isn't just noise, it's a piece of evidence.
So, here's our game plan to get you there. First, we're going to shift our mindset. Then, we'll look at our very first clue, the headers. After that, we'll talk about building a model of our target, how to sidestep a classic beginner's mistake, and then I'll give you a simple 4-step method. And finally, we'll see exactly why this all pays off.
All right, first things first, we have to stop guessing and start reading. This is all about that fundamental mindset shift, from being a blunt instrument to becoming a sharp, analytical investigator.
So what is HTTP enumeration really? When you do it right, it's a disciplined process. We're not just jiggling doorknobs. We are methodically trying to get the blueprints to the building. We want to understand its technology, its configuration, and its potential weak spots. It's this context that transforms random data into intelligence you can actually use.
And this right here, this is the absolute core of it all. Every single response you get from that server is a clue. A 200 OK, a 404 not found, even a 500 error. They're all telling you something. A 404 says, nope, not here. But a 500 might be whispering, ooh, you're close, but you broke something. Each one of those clues should make your very next move smarter and more targeted than the last.
Okay, let's talk about our first and maybe most important clue. This is where the investigation really begins. We're talking about HTTP headers, basically the server's digital calling card.
And let me be perfectly clear on this, headers are not trivia. They are not some optional detail you can just glance over. They are the first piece of structured evidence you will get. Ignoring them is like a detective showing up to a crime scene and not bothering to check the victim's wallet for an ID. It is investigative malpractice, period.
So what can they tell you? Oh, a ton. The server header might flat out tell you it's running Apache 2.4.29. A version you happen to know has some interesting quirks. A custom X powered by header might reveal the whole backend framework. You start to see how the service thinks, its configuration habits. It's all right there. You're already building a profile.
Okay, so you've got your first clues from the headers. Now it's time to start putting them together. This brings us to section 3, building your site model. This is where we turn individual clues into a working theory about our target.
And this is just so critical. Look, finding a directory like admin feels like a win. I get it. But it's totally useless information unless you can place it within a bigger picture. Does finding admin fit your theory that this is a standard WordPress site, or does it contradict it? The discovery itself isn't the real prize. Sharpening your model of the site is.
The best way to think about your site model is as your profile of the suspect. It's this living, breathing map of the server's behavior. It starts with a few scattered data points, and with each new clue, it evolves into a clearer, more detailed picture of how everything connects.
Now let's talk about something really important. Section 4, how to avoid the beginner's mistake. And trust me, it's not about being the smartest person in the room. It's about being methodical. It's about sequence.
Seriously, let that one sink in. Most people who fail at this aren't failing because they're not smart enough. They're failing because their sequence is wrong. They're running a massive directory scan before they've even glanced at the headers. Or they're looking for niche software vulnerabilities before they have any idea what software is even running. The what is important, sure, but the when is everything.
Which of course brings us to the million-dollar question. What is the right sequence? How do we take this detective mindset and turn it into a process we can use every single time?
And that leads us right into the heart of this whole thing. Section 5, the 4-step method. This is your new standard operating procedure, your repeatable process for any investigation. And here it is.
Think of this as your investigator's decision card. Step 1, you always start with the headers. That's the ID. Step 2, based on those headers, you form a hypothesis, your first rough draft of the site model. Step 3, now you run focused path checks to test that model. You aren't looking for everything under the sun. You're looking for specific things that either prove or disprove your theory. And finally, step 4, you take what you just learned and you rank your next checks. You're constantly asking, okay, based on that new piece of evidence, what's the smartest possible thing I can do next? It's a loop.
So finally, let's talk about the payoff. Why go through all this trouble? Why be so disciplined when you could just fire up a loud tool and hope for the best?
Because the payoff is absolutely huge. Your investigations get smarter, which means you're not wasting time. Your scans are way quieter, so you're less likely to trip alarms. Your results are far more effective. But most importantly, you learn how to turn those tiny, insignificant clues that everyone else ignores into the major breakthroughs that crack the case wide open.
And that brings us right back to where we started. The goal isn't the sledgehammer. It's not about being the loudest or trying the most things. The real goal, the pro's goal, is the magnifying glass. It's all about disciplined observation.
So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. Every single web server out there is telling a story, is telling it through its headers, its responses, its structure. Now that you know how to read the clues, what stories are you going to uncover?